In the last movie, we created 2 new custom menus that show up in WordPress admin and can be configured. You can see them right here, header navigation and footer navigation. But if you check the site now, you'll see that the custom menu no longer shows. We have this default menu that just shows the 4 pages that we have registered on the site. That's because we removed the primary menu. To get our custom menu back, we have to tell the theme to display the new menu we created. We'll do this using a menu-specific template tag. As with just about everything else in WordPress, there's a custom template tag to add menus, and it looks like this, WP nav menus, and then you can attach arguments to it. If you want to add a menu, you can do it in one of 2 ways. You can either call the menu based on the theme location. Now this is what I normally do. You simply define the theme location and set it to primary or header or footer or whatever you defined it as inside the functions file. This is great if you want to just have that basic functionality. There's another method that's sometimes used, which is the one where you set it to name instead. Now this is the name that you define inside WordPress admin. So when you create a new menu, you give it a name, and then you can call the menu based on that name. This is something you would use if, for instance, you created a theme for someone else and you didn't want to explain to them how to add the menu. You could simply say, if you go to menus and you create a new menu and call it footer menu, it'll automatically appear in the footer. Now, with the menu functions, you actually have a lot of other options too. This is just a small selection of the options you have. You can attach extra container classes, you can attach container IDs, you can do a lot of interesting stuff with your menus. There's way too much to explain, but if you're really interested, you can go to the WordPress Codex and actually check out the full documentation and see what is truly possible. For these examples, however, we're going to do the very basic stuff, just add a couple of container classes and add the menu in so we can do some basic styling. So let's take a quick look at what we did in the previous movie. We created these 2 new menus, and the theme location for the header menu is now called header. So what we need to do is add header to our header.php file instead of primary. So I'll go to the header.php file and scroll down to the bottom to find the actual menu. And here we see PHP WP nav menu, which is the one we want. And if we scroll further to the side here, you'll see theme location, primary. So all we have to do to link that theme location to our new menu is to change primary to header. If I now save this, go back to the front page, and in admin, define header menu as the header navigation, and click save, we can now reload the front page and see the new menu again. But that's just half the battle. I also want to add a menu to our footer. By default, we still have the content from 2010 displaying in our footer. So we have the name of the site on the left, and then we have proudly powered by Bitnami WordPress on the right. What I want is the menu to display on the left here instead of the site name. The first step in doing this is to go grab the actual footer file from 2010 and pull it over into our new child theme. So I'll copy it over, and now we can work on it without disturbing the parent theme. So now I'll go into Eclipse, go to my themes, and open footer. Here we have all the content in the footer, and you can see we have site info that displays the home URL and all that stuff. That's what I don't want, so I'll simply delete it. Now it's gone. If I save this and reload the page now, you'll see we no longer have the title here. So now we can put in the menu instead. Now because PHP is so finicky, if you make even a small error, you might actually end up breaking everything. So I put the actual code we're going to use inside the code snippets file. So I'll go to the code snippets file, and here you find both based on theme location and based on name. In this case, we're putting in the footer menu. So I'm going to copy all of this stuff that starts with div ID footer menu, copy it over, and then paste it in. And I'll walk you through what's going on here. So first of all, we have the div that just is a container for the whole menu. Then we have WP nav menu array, and if I hit enter here, you can see what's going on. Then we have the container class, which basically defines what the container that contains everything is going to be. It sets the class menu footer to the container, and we can use that class to style it. Then it says theme location footer, just like the menu did for the header. And then finally, it just closes everything. If we now save this and reload the page again, you'll see we now have the menu down here at the bottom. Now, because we haven't defined a footer menu yet, we just get the default menu, which is always a list of all the pages in chronological order. So what I want to do now to finalize this is to create a new menu, call it footer menu, and then add the elements I want into that menu. So in this menu, I want homepage, the about page to contact page, And I also want flowers and news. I'll reorganize them briefly and change some of these titles to be shorter. Save the menu, and then assign it to the footer menu. Now, when we reload the page again, you'll see we now have links to home, flowers, news, about, and contact. We now have 2 fully functional custom menus in our site.